Hello, welcome to Poetry Changes Lives. Poetry, history, and a thought for the day, all in one book. What a bargain! You can get this book on Amazon if you have a mind to. Well, on this day in 1813, Jane Austen's novel Pride and Prejudice was published. Like all her work, she used to read it aloud as she was writing it to her family in the evenings to see what they thought of it. And she used to sit in a corner writing at a little table in her living room. And when people came to see her, to visit her, she used to hide her papers and pretend that she was knitting or sewing instead. Very lovely lady. Um, Her books are full of sort of really nice morality, respectability, all the great virtues of faithfulness and honesty are there displayed. And I love her. She's really beyond reproach. Uh, her characters live lovely lives, most of them really. Uh, they seem to have been blissfully unaware that the Napoleonic Wars were raging in Europe. They're hardly ever mentioned um, in her works, even though she died shortly after the Battle of Waterloo. Um, but there we are. She was a lovely a writer, and we are lucky to have had her. Her books are really worth reading today. Well, today's poem is by Ernest Dowson, and I really enjoyed writing this book because I learnt so much myself. I didn't really know about Ernest Dowson. He's such an interesting young man. He died tragically young, the age of 32, in 1900. He led a short but very decadent sort of life. He was fairly well off. His family ran a business in London, and Ernest Dowson used to frequent pubs and theatres and nightclubs, and uh, really not do very much work, though he did quite a lot of writing. He fell in love and became besotted with a very young girl and proposed marriage to her when she was just 15 years old. And she, by all accounts, ignored him and went off and married someone else eventually. But that seemed to have upset him a great deal. And this poem I'm going to read is one of it's very well known. It's probably his best known poem. It's called I'm I was always true. There's sorry, I have been faithful to thee, Cynara, in my fashion. And of course, it engendered that musical "Kiss Me, Kate." The song in there, "I'm always true to you, darling, in my fashion." Well, the speaker in this poem is clearly a man who has one true love, he thinks, in his life, even though he seems to have gone off the rails a bit and uh, had a bit of a dalliance with someone else, um, with a lot of gay abandon and wine and sort of wine, women, and song, and the old refrain of men who do that. You know, it it meant nothing, they say, to their true beloved or their wife, but it's a bit cynical, really. But I rather like this poem all the same. Here we are. I'm always true. I have been faithful to thee, Cynara, in my fashion. Last night, yesternight, betwixt her lips and mine, there fell thy shadow, Cynara. Thy breath was shed upon my soul between the kisses and the wine, and I was desolate and sick of an old passion. Yes, I was desolate and bowed my head. I have been faithful to thee, Cynara, in my fashion. I have forgot much, Cynara, gone with the wind, flung roses, roses riotous with the throng, dancing to put thy pale lost lilies out of mind. But I was desolate and sick of an old passion. Yea, all the time, because the dance was long, I have been faithful to thee, Cynara, in my fashion. I cried for madder music and for stronger wine, but when the feast is finished and the lamps expire, there falls thy shadow, Cynara. The night is thine, and I am desolate and sick of an old passion. Yea, hungry for the lips of my desire. I have been faithful to thee, Cynara, in my fashion. Well, I'm not sure what Cynara would have thought of that, but it's uh, it's it's got a lot of passion in it anyway. I rather like it. Today I give thanks for the virtues of faithfulness and loyalty that mean so much as we grow older and wiser, hopefully. That's my view anyway.